Okay, everybody, cue the music.
Go on.
You cue the music.
Bro, why I always gotta cue the music? You cue the music.
You are my friend. Ah, ba da ba ba da ba ba. We are your friend. Pitu, 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 pitu. That's all I got.
Sounds about right.
Okay, we're warming up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another stream. This is me, your host, Papu91, joined by our co-hosts, Jack Reinhardt, and also the illustrious Dagon Keldrum, our guest of honor.
Guest of honor. Wow.
Say hello.
Whoa. Whoa.
So much honor.
The
My
honor.
ancestors are proud.
Sumimasen!
Sumimasen! Sumimasen! Yeah, we're gonna talk shit and play Spyro. It's gonna be fun.
Alright, I've never played Spyro, so I'm excited
Ever?
to see it.
Really?
I have the game, like when when me and Lovisa bought the PS1, we bought Spyro.
Mm-hmm.
But I never...
Oh, the PS1 or the PS... Ah, yeah, not the classic, sorry.
As far as
PSX.
PS1 3D platformers go, I guess Spyro is the better one.
Yeah. Peter, you're producing, right?
Was
You get
Croc
the chat
in
and shit?
Nintendo
Everything
64
looks
as well,
fine.
or was Croc?
Croc, it's funny because Croc was meant to be a Yoshi game initially, and
Really?
then
Are you serious?
yeah, I'm serious. Croc was meant to be a Yoshi game, but then when the talks with Nintendo didn't go well, they didn't want to ditch the project, so they basically just reskinned it and called it Croc.
Huh.
And now every time you look at Croc, you can't unsee this fact. I had no
Okay.
no
But
idea.
despite talking
Wow.
shit about Spyro, I do recognize that it was probably the best, well, one of the better ones on the PS1. But
Yeah, I think it was very cute and fun to be around it.
Mm.
But I think that wait. I think that other platformers were better because Spyro plays it's very easy to play. Like the
Mhm.
difficulty is not,
That's the thing. I think
bad at all.
Spyro is a type of game for non-gamers. Like, imagine a kid getting a
Yeah.
PlayStation 1 for Christmas with Spyro. I think these type of games
Super
are
accessible.
very good as introductory games for the medium in general.
Now, I have a problem, which is I have no idea what I was doing, and I don't know what level I'm supposed to go to. That's a problem right now. But I think I already did this. Ah, yeah, I think I have one left. Otherwise, this thing would be turned on, probably. I think. Right? How do I know if I already went there? Hi, Capes. Ah, it says replay dragon. Continue? What? What the hell is a replay dragon?
Hi, Spyro.
I'm rediscovering the game, guys. I haven't played this in a year. Ah, okay. Okay. I've already rescued this
Replay
gentleman.
dragon is when you're chasing the dragon that you lost in the first time.
Supercharge. Go ahead, try it.
Yeah. Okay, so I've already done this thing. Cool. Isn't it pretty? Whee! See, Lawrence, you can fly. You just sucked when you were a kid.
That's not flying, that's gliding.
That's not
yeah, I
flying,
remember.
it's falling with
That's-
style.
It's falling with style, exactly. Oh, the name my
That's not flying. Well, that's just falling with extra steps.
It kind of is.
slow
but
falling.
It looks pretty. I mean, this was always like a platformer that I saw people play and people like gave a lot of props to, but it never looked appealing to me.
Yeah.
And I'm a platformer guy, and it never looked
Yeah.
appealing.
Yeah.
Well, first it's 3D, right? Which is
Yeah, so is Mario
and then
64.
it didn't. I know, but I'm gonna say that even in PS1, it didn't control super well, nor it was particularly challenging.
Yeah. That's the issue.
It was
that
fine.
I have with it.
It's not challenging at all.
'Cause it doesn't
Easy game.
control.
You might see me die, but that's because I suck. Does anybody can play this fucking game? Oh, I forgot. There's certain. See.
So,
So smart.
explain to me what the objective is.
The objective is every time you go into one of these little levels or worlds, right? You have to collect a bunch of crystals and then get out.
Oh, so you're a meth
Finish
head.
the level, and that's it. Yeah, pretty much.
You're
Yeah.
chasing dragons and collecting crystals.
You will
Yeah,
have
exactly.
to, chasing dragons
Right.
and collecting crystals. You have to rescue certain dragons.
Yeah. So dragons have turned to stone or whatever, and
Yeah, and you're their only hope. But
Thompson,
you're like
you're
a dragon in
live,
training.
right?
Yeah, why?
Oh, it's just on my Xbox. It doesn't let me. Doesn't show me that you're live, but it does on my cell phone.
That's interesting.
It's fine now. Don't worry. Madness. So yeah, Spyro, huh? I don't know. Considering
Not impressed.
it's just like considering the other big platforming name in PS1, which is Crash.
Yeah.
I mean,
Crash
This
is
falls
the
behind.
Superior.
Yeah,
oh,
this falls
by
behind.
miles.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I would say that even Croc is more challenging than Spyro. When I was a kid, I got stuck in
Sure.
Croc a few times.
Yeah.
I remember
always
that.
easy.
I remember Croc. Never played it
Spyro-
either.
But that's what I mean. It's a super easy game to just, just grab it, play it, relax. It's cute, wholesome. It's a Pixar movie-ish. I mean, not.
Sure.
There we go. Dragon rescues. See?
Oh, Spyro, you're
The challenge
noisy gigantic.
is mostly. I mean, the challenge comes mostly when you're trying to get all the crystals for some places. But the flying missions. It's such a difficulty spike all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not even fair. Like the game goes from being super hands-on, like you can see, very easy,
How
not
does
challenging
the
at all.
How does the hit system go? Like, do you have a health bar? Because I haven't seen it.
Nope. If you're out of crystals, then you out.
So
you
it's
know.
the Sonic way.
Yeah, it's the Sonic type of way. Yeah. And then when you just die, you just reignite, and that's it. And then you have to recollect some of the crystals.
Oh.
Again, that's why this game is great for kids. And a lot of people love this game because they played it when they were kids, not because it's an amazing game. Period.
Yeah, of course.
I went into Super Mario World as an adult, and that game was. I had my moments with it, even in the first worlds. Even though for you, okay, master platformer.
It's
an
not
easy
not that
game,
it's
but
master
it's got its
platformer,
moments.
but Mario games are inherently difficult.
He meant you
Like-
as master platformer.
Oh, you're gonna say
Yeah.
okay. I thought you were gonna say the Super Mario World is easy.
No,
shit.
no. Look, Mario games are inherently difficult. They're meant for you to have a lot of replayability, and for it to take a while for you to finish the game. You start noticing it after the first game. Even the first game is hard, but as soon as you switch to Super Mario Bros. 2, which is completely different from the other ones, the difficulty heightens a lot. And then Super Mario Bros. 3 is good balance between bringing back more ease into the game, but it's still hard. Like, they're all challenging. All Mario games are challenging. They don't feel like a walk in the park,
Yeah. This one
At
has
least the
its
2D
challenges.
ones. So I do feel like once you started taking platforming to the 3D realm, the difficulty spike lessened by a lot.
Also, apparently I died. I lost. I think I can only get hit 2 times or whatever. I don't know. It never bothers me dying in this game. Really, it doesn't bother me at all.
They're
So
like,
it's
just
ridiculous,
reigniting, we're good.
actually. Yeah, see, we're back at the spot where I died. Perfect.
That's it.
Yeah,
Wow.
as you can see, it's not challenging at all.
Interesting.
The enemies are huge and easy to hit. I mean, some of them you can't hit with certain things, you know, they'll have their...
Would you say that there was a game that I played a demo of on the PSX, which was, I think it's called Medieval.
Oh, Medieval's amazing, man. Medieval can be very challenging sometimes.
Is Medieval
it's
considered a
Medieval
platformer?
in the latest
It's an
levels
action
is
adventure.
So frustrating though.
Yeah. There are a couple difficulty spikes on Medieval, especially with bosses. Or places where you need to use your items or you have many enemies coming at you.
Right.
Because at the time the hitboxes and systems were not they weren't perfect, let's just put it that way, you know?
Sure.
When you're aiming, when your character is looking in a certain direction and you hit, but somebody can just come behind you, and it had its bullshit moments, but it were bullshit moments that at the time we completely tolerated because it was part of, you know, games in general, I feel. Did you play Medieval, Lawrence?
Yeah. A bunch.
On your own console?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
Especially with cheats.
Especially with cheats? Why especially with cheats?
Because at the time I found the game extremely frustrating.
Really? Which part? The first level and stuff?
No, the later levels.
Later level, okay. So you went and bought a magazine for, you know...
Yeah, I had the
€6.
magazine, and so at the time I used every time I had a game that had the cheats on the magazine, I would try it out as well. So
I get that. I mean, I used the Konami code quite a lot back in the day.
I don't even know if Konami code answers on this game. Yeah. Medieval was cool, man. I played the demo over and over again for a few... maybe a couple of years. Not every day, all the time, of course, but when you were a kid, remember, we have plenty of demos, and sometimes you can just get a, like, bite-sized, what do we call it, experiences for games.
Yeah,
And especially when you're younger, you don't have as much time. You know,
Speak for
parents don't
yourself.
let you play as much, and exactly. So demos were great for that. And I played the first level of Medieval, and it was on a timestamp, so not you finish the level and it's over. It's you can play for as long as you
that's
want
how I
for
played it.
40 minutes, I think. And I got pretty far, man, because then I bought the game a while later, and I realized that I had gotten really good at that initial, you know, part of the game.
You know, it's funny because I was a Nintendo child, right? So I didn't have any Sony consoles. But I really don't feel like, apart from very specific titles like Final Fantasy or other things, I don't feel like I really missed out by not having a PS1.
No, I think as well, because at the time the genres were more limited too.
I
given
don't
the genre of games
entirely
that
agree
you-
with that, though.
Nah, meaning the RPGs were more similar to each other at the time, and the racing games and the shooters, right? For example, the shooter genre was away from PC. Strategy is still, you know, not around for consoles in general.
I mean, at
when
that
compared
time,
to
the
what's
shooter
available on
genre
PC.
was literally GoldenEye. That's what you got.
Yeah, for you. on the N64. There were a few
Yeah.
good shooters on the PlayStation was better at that, but that's the point I was trying to get at, is that if you enjoyed action shooters and adventure stuff like that, then of course it would be better to have a PlayStation. But if you're more into platformers,
But that's the
Nintendo
thing. Give
platformers were
me an
superior.
example of games like that.
Siphon
'Cause I'm
Filter
not-
was pretty good. There was
okay.
another one that I don't remember the exact name, but it played like Tomb Raider, but just more action focused, less jumping around, and like you could actually aim. This guy gives you secret shit. Yeah, you're alive.
Tomb Raider is
Um,
actually a good example of a game that was
Yeah,
worth
Tomb
having
Raider-
the PS1 for, yeah.
Well, but there's games better than Tomb Raider on the PS1, in my opinion. I
Sure.
forgot the name of this game because it was borrowed, and I remember it was amazing. And like shooters on the PS1, there's a few good Rainbow Six shooters on the PS1. I can remember two at least. I mean, the aiming was different back then, but it was one of the few games that started playing with the joystick. The first Alien game was amazing.
Oh yeah, I played
And terrifying when you're, 8. A lot of story-driven games like Silent Hill, Galarians, that game that I keep ranting on about, that was like super weird, where you're in a laboratory and you have to leave.
Galarian, you showed me.
Yeah, show you that stuff. It's weird and cool.
I never saw that game
Um,
at the time, but from the footage I've seen, it looks so interesting actually.
Yeah. It isn't that genre of like get out of this place, inventory management, different type of attack against certain enemies game, but so PlayStation had a few very original games. I will say that I think comparing to the 64 games, from an outsider who didn't have it, seemed more similar to each other, and a certain genre dominates more compared to the PlayStation. If you want to play a little bit of everything, go for a PlayStation. If you want to play more, platformers and cool racers,
For example,
maybe the
I think
party games,
franchises
multiplayer games.
that might have
yeah.
sold well with the PlayStation 1 is, first of all, Crash Bandicoot,
Obviously.
Tekken 2, Tekken 3.
Sure. Fighting game.
Yeah, the fighting games were better on the PlayStation compared to the 64, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Tomb
And
Raider,
there's more of
a lot
them too.
The first one, I guess it's kind of a milestone for 3D platformers. It hasn't aged well today.
Oh, it's
Which one?
terrible.
The first Tomb Raider, but at the time it was,
On console, it aged terribly,
yeah.
especially on console. I have no idea where I'm supposed to go.
Then you had other more niche games, but that was still popular, like the Ace Combat series.
Yes! Was Ace Combat on 64 as well? They had a similar flying game that was pretty cool too.
I don't know.
Yeah, Star Wars
That's,
game.
I guess, to some degree, because those were not genres that I really played. I didn't really pay attention to that. The way I see it is that the Nintendo 64, in terms of where it opposes a lot the PlayStation 1, is that they were trying to push the boundaries of what you could do with a 3D game.
Yes.
And that's why you
innovation,
have a lot
absolutely.
of crappy games that didn't really age well or that look well, because they were attempts of what the machine could do. That's what the 64 was at the end of the day. A lot of attempts at making good 3D environments. And they didn't succeed.
stuff.
They didn't succeed super well, but they pushed the boundaries. And they got some big successes with the Zelda franchise and with the Mario and shit. But there are a lot of
Ocarina of Time.
Majora's Mask and Ocarina, bro. I mean,
Yeah, Majora's
The
Mask.
3D in PlayStation for most games is a fake 3D. You're mostly moving on tunnels or on boards.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the big difference is there, and I do
Final
feel
Fantasy
like
used that technique a lot. 7, 8,
Yeah.
and 9, where the
Yeah.
backgrounds were actually what's it
2D,
called?
2.5.
There's an actual terminology for that. But yeah, it's like the equivalent where in old cinema they would use paintings as backgrounds
Yeah,
to simulate
images,
the
stills.
3D. Especially like in German expressionism, like the cinema of the 20s in Germany before the Second World War.
Also, like movies like The Sound of Music and stuff use.
Yeah, that was translated
Stuff like
to
that.
Hollywood with
Yeah.
because of the Second World War. Like a lot of
Could I?
filmmakers from Germany went to America to escape the war, and it had a big impact in Hollywood. For example, film noir and stuff like that. But yes, I digress. Yeah, video games.
Yeah, video games.
Video games and stuff.
But I
3D.
will admit that the one thing that I always felt was lacking on the 64 was because the bet was mostly on 3D games. They kind of abandoned the whole 2D kind of exploration.
Yeah.
And that's where Sony for me was superior, because they were still behind graphically to some degree, or in capabilities, but what they did better was that they still bet a lot on 2D things. And those are the games that I appreciate when I look at the PS1. The games that I'm interested in playing are those 2D type games.
Oddworld, Ape was kind of a mixture of that.
Oddworld's great.
Right.
I love Oddworld.
I think I already did this, didn't I? Yes, I did.
And you had that game I saw you play a couple of years ago back
You
in
couldn't talk
London.
about Valkyrie Profile?
Valkyria Profile, that's
Oh, it's
That
so
game's
good.
amazing.
It's amazing. I'm so
I
tempted to
tipped
do
you
a
to
stream
that game
of
like
that.
what, 7-8 years ago or some shit?
Probably something like that.
Because I moved to Denmark, so I was only playing on emulators. I only had my laptop. I didn't bring my console, and I stumbled onto that game that I had known at a friend's house. My mom had a friend whose daughter was a super nerd, and oh shit, flying mission. No, I don't want this. Wait.
But it didn't have a European release, the game. So if you played the game, it must have been a modded game or a modded console.
Possibly, she had everything.
Okay.
Like, she had everything. I played everything at her place. Yeah, but that one was funny. Because you do play side-scroller and turn-based RPG.
It's great. It's fantastic, the game. And the story and the replayability. It's like Octopath Traveler, pretty much. It's the same concept. That's what I find super interesting with it. There's a lot of RPGs that, use that kind of technique of diversifying with so many different characters that then intersect with each other, and then the stories vary depending on who you choose and the paths you take and shit. I can't remember the name right now, but there was already games like that for the NES and the SNES as well. So that's an old concept. But Valkyrie Profile took it to a whole other level, man. Like, it's beautiful, it plays really well. It's
today,
heavily
aged beautifully.
influenced. Oh yeah, and it's heavily influenced by Northern mythology, which makes it even more appealing, at least for me. And the voice acting in the game's pretty good
is
as well.
very wholesome. Yeah, I was surprised at that actually. That it was when I started playing it, I didn't remember them speaking.
Yeah.
I just thought it was going to be text, and then they start talking. So that was.
Which is usually something I don't like in games.
Interesting.
I don't really like voice acting in
It's great on that
JRPG
one.
games. But yeah, it works pretty well on that one.
Oh, shit. Okay, that was a bad idea.
It's like I'm so glad they still haven't given Link a voice. Like, I'm so happy.
Ah, thank God. No, they will never. It will remain voiceless.
I hope so. I really do.
And this is a person who is not a particular fan of Zelda.
Unless you count the CDI Philips.
Well,
CDI
I'm not
games.
conning the Wands of Gamelon, no, bro. Like, no, I'm not. That is
What that weird like cartoon game thing?
the CDI Philips game, yeah.
CDI
my
Philips, that's
God.
the console, right? Yeah.
I had a friend who had the CDI Philips back in the day. It's terrible,
Really?
terrible console. Yeah.
What? But why? How would you even get one? Were they selling
You know,
them? Like,
because here in Portugal, you had a lot of the varied kind
American
of like
shit, right?
not American
Yeah.
shit, but you had a lot of different consoles. The one would be considered the mainstream console. You saw them a lot. Like you
Well,
remember at
Sega
the
country,
phase,
first of
yeah,
all.
like you remember at the phase of the Jaguar and shit like that. Consoles that were kind of
Yeah,
under
yeah,
the
yeah.
radar. I knew a lot of people that had those consoles here.
Our good friend when we were kids, Miguel Ench, had a um, Jaguar.
I don't think I've ever played the Jaguar.
It was shit. There was a weird like it's one of those like it doesn't even have Mario on it. It's because there's no Mario, no Crash. He had a weird game with some squirrel, you know, anthropomorphized creature, like a conker but taller and thinner, and you just go around jumping on shit. It was
Who did
terrible.
that game? That console?
I don't know. That console was made by. Was it a Sega console?
It's a
initially?
Sega console. Oh wait, no, sorry,
is,
it's not a
right?
Sega. It's an Atari console.
Atari, exactly. Sorry, it's the Atari Jaguar. Yeah, I didn't even know it was an Atari at the time. I just knew it as a Jaguar.
And it's like, I want to say it's like from '93. Something
Yeah,
like
it came
that.
out pretty late and didn't even have that much to offer. Mortal Kombat was on it, but it played terrible. It was really bad. It's very unfortunate. And the console like barely sold.
Well, I mean,
too,
it's
actually.
also
not that many
well,
people
duh,
had it.
it's the last Atari console, bro.
Good God.
But yeah, I mean, the marketing didn't go very well. Plus, it was fighting against the SNES and the Mega Drive, bro. There's
Yeah.
just not, it's not happening. There's no chance. But I do think they had a lot of games that were also on the PS. Because I know they had Rayman on it. I remember that. Pretty sure Doom was on it.
Yeah, they had
Pretty
some.
sure
ported
Wolfenstein
stuff.
was in it as well.
Doom was supposed to run better on Sega. I learned that recently. Supposed to. But
Yeah,
then
just-
they limited the way it ran. Didn't let it run at full potential. On purpose, over some bullshit. I might be wrong. If anyone out there is listening, correct me please, but I remember something like that. The Doom played better on the Sega, and there was some weird issue about it.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with like, I mean, like I told you, I've played maybe a demo of the first Resident Evil, and I played it on the Sega Saturn, right? I didn't play it on
Oh
the
yeah,
PS.
Resident Evil, dude. PS.
And the Saturn one was a lot more defined graphically, like the characters,
But
Mm.
played
than
worse.
the PSX version, like a lot more. But the environments
Did it
were a
play
lot
worse?
better on the PS1. They played
Ah,
very
really?
similar.
Okay. I didn't know that part about the like the environment being different, but the characters being better
There's
on
just
the other
more
one. That's
attention to
interesting.
detail to the characters on the Saturn.
Right.
And it's then again, it comes a bit to what you considered detail or not, because they look different. Some
Mhm.
people might think the PS1 version looks nicer.
Oh, because
But
one's
I-
a drawing and the other one's a polygon?
It's just, it looks more. Yeah, I guess. Like for example, the face in the PS1 is probably looks more hand drawn, and on the Saturn it looks more like it's taking advantage of
Proper
the
3D.
3D properties and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's more polygonic, but you also get like the details to the shirt and the arms and all those things are much more evident in the Saturn version than they are in the PS1 one. But anyway, I mean the differences weren't that massive.
I didn't know that Resident Evil came out on Sega, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Why can't I open this? Oh shit!
A lot of the games that came out on PlayStation that you wouldn't have on the Nintendo consoles came out on the Saturn, you know?
On Sega, yeah.
A lot of them. Tomb Raider
And a
was
lo-
on Sega Saturn, bro.
There's yeah, something on the Saturn that I really appreciate. actually is that it carried on with the arcade legacy, where PlayStation did less so, Nintendo even less, because they were, you know, they had their eyes forward. But I mean, like the side-scroller shit, there were a lot of games that you could play at arcades that you couldn't find on PlayStation nor on Nintendo, but you can get them on Sega.
Oh yeah.
And that was really cool, actually. I'm just saying that because I recognize a lot of those games going at friends' places. And yeah, a lot of them were, you know, arcade games too. And Sega had some impressive strategy games and racing games. Flying games too. I don't know if it's because their technology was better for that type of stuff, but I remember that
The
specifically.
Sega Saturn was a fucking machine, way ahead of its
Yeah.
time. But you know, it didn't unfortunately go well head to toe with other consoles. But yeah.
Why didn't it stick though? Just wasn't popular enough? Was it too expensive?
Marketing issues, and you know, like, it's just hard to say because Sega always tried to get the cool audience, you know, the cool kids, that late teenagers, not so much kids and shit.
Edgy kids.
But when I feel like there were
Made
some
the
marketing
preteens feel like
issues
teens.
between like the States and like Japan and shit, and
Sure.
that Sega just kind of flopped pretty much everywhere outside of Asia. Because it didn't stick, you know, it didn't appeal as PlayStation or Nintendo did. They were a lot more friendly, and I guess they had more of the mainstream games that you would want to play. I don't know. Also because I guess the properties of the Sega, like you said, they have a lot of what you would call the kind of like arcade-ish legacy type games. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you quite a few games that I think the Sega Saturn is amazing at, but you'll recognize that a lot of them do have that kind of like arcade vibe to it. Like Nights into Dreams is amazing, Panzer Dragoon, Virtua Fighter, Sega
Yeah.
Rally Championship, Shining Force.
Sega Rally Championship was
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
for the time. I mean, PlayStation did some cool shit too, but it was many years later.
There was actually a Die Hard game on Sega Saturn, like a beat 'em up Die Hard game. It was
Oh, where you go through
amazing.
the building, right? Through
Yeah,
different
it was amazing.
levels, and it doesn't even have. Does it have Bruce Willis' voice on it? I don't think so.
No, Ashes. They couldn't get the rights for anyone's face.
Yeah. So it's a Die Hard game, but it's not exactly.
But it's
Die
not.
Hard.
It's Die Hard. It's called Die Hard Arcade.
That's like the Mummy
but-
Returns type of
Yeah.
movie. Mummy,
But,
Mummy Demastered, yeah.
I think that it doesn't necessarily. I think just because the concept was very similar to Die Hard, they call it Die Hard Arcade in the West. But in Japan, it wasn't called Die Hard. It was called
so
like.
they just use that sneaky to.
And also, when they did the art
sell
style
more
in the
video.
West, they did Bruce Willisify the main character. You know,
So
they
in Japan
did.
he looks like Contra, but in the West he looks
Like
like
in the
Bruce
art
Willis.
style of the box. I'm not saying in the game itself, but the
Right.
art style. Because in Japan, if I'm correct, I think it's called Dynamite Deca, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, but it's funny because it was one of the first games I've played that had QuickTime events. Yeah. So I think it might be the first one I remember personally playing with QuickTime events. It's from '96.
Which
so I mean,
Sega
I
did you
was
have?
6 years old. I didn't have
Saturn?
a Sega. I used to play at a Mandio's because he had it,
Right.
but he had the Saturn, yeah. And Bernardo had the Master System, and someone else I knew had a Mega Drive. But mostly the ones I played were Master System and Saturn. And Dreamcast a bit as well.
Crystal Flight, fuck that. Oh, we're back in this area again? What the fuck? Oh, what is this?
Are you just going around in circles, bro?
You know, I made a mistake. Fuck, I was up here.
Lawrence,
Oh,
are you
I think I
capturing
just came
monsters?
back from this thing.
Yes. Is the sound coming?
No, not
No,
really.
no,
Just
no,
every
no,
once
it's
in a
just that
while, I
he
hear a
understood your
certain sound
silence.
as well.
Okay.
But yeah,
Ah, really?
yeah,
I figured because he's quiet, you know.
and that as well, obviously.
Monsters.
Just as quiet as I am when you guys talk about Star Wars.
Speaking of Star Wars, no, I'm kidding.
My God.
Okay, let's go.
Bro, you can
Jack's
speak
heart
about
just
Star
skipped
Wars
a
if you
beat.
want, bro. I don't give a shit. I just like disconnect. I'm like, sure, have fun. I'm one day I'm gonna turn to you and I'm gonna be like, I watched all of them and
don't
I
believe
hated
it,
all
yeah.
of them.
You're not gonna hit. I mean, for you, it's gonna be, oh my god, this is Meme the movie.
Maybe.
If you watch the prequels, especially.
Well, the thing is, when I was a kid, the only episode that I remember watch it because I had it like on tape was
Look at name of
episode
this
4.
boss. Confronting
Right.
Blowhard.
Nice. And I remember watching episode 4 as a kid and just being very lost. I would be like, I don't know what the
What
fuck's
the
going
fuck is happening?
on. It's too much for my little brain. Like there's, but it didn't appeal to me. I was like, man, guy, saber, cool, made of light, awesome. It's really not my thing.
I see your Schwarz.
Had he had a
is as big as
katana,
mine.
bro. Had he had a katana, I would have been probably a lot more enticed. But I still have it on my list. I'm going to watch the movies at some point. I am going to. I'm not just saying it. I'm gonna try. Gotta give it my best try.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched the movie number 9 yet.
Mm-hmm.
Still haven't. You know,
That's fine.
Isn't that supposed to be a crapola?
Apparently it's not. It's better than number 8, but number 8 was so ugh, for me. I was like, I'm full. I don't want any more. It's like when you're having
Depends.
ice cream, you're like, no, but try this different flavor of
It
ice cream.
depends
Like,
who you
dude, I'm
ask.
full of ice cream right now.
For some reason, people who don't usually enjoy Star Wars really enjoy Episode 8
What?
because it's different from the rest.
Sure, yeah. It's
Actually, reactions are
Wow.
really like
Harsh words.
all over the place. People who really like Episode 8 hated Episode 9. Think hating Episode 9 was very vocal all throughout the board. I enjoy Episode 9 the same way I enjoy a Fast and the Furious movie. So it's the moment where I check out where, okay, Star Wars is
Stop
not
trying to
Lord of
enjoy
the
this for the
Rings in
story
space.
and,
Yeah, Star Wars
yeah,
is not Lord of the
exactly.
Rings in space anymore. It's just popcorn. Turn off your brain.
money machine. Let's sell some toys.
Yeah, it's the most expensive advertisement. Yeah.
It's like going to watch a
But it's
Transformers
nice.
movie or a
It's got
Godzilla
colors,
movie.
It's got the lights.
Colors!
It's got
Yeah, Pacific Rim,
colors.
colors!
Oh, are you calling me a 2-year-old? It's got shapes, it's got colors.
Dude,
Okay,
Pretty
now I know
much.
what the audience is.
I went into the
Pretty
cinema
much,
for Episode 9 with my expectations like subterranean, like below the ground floor. And I had fun. Like it was just a very a high production value fan fiction.
As if you had taken your kid there to see it, right? As if it wasn't your
But
idea,
it's got
but
some
you still
moments
went
where
anyway expecting nothing.
it's got a very Romeo Juliet moment type of thing where I actually burst out laughing in the middle of the cinema, and my brother turned to me and he's like all embarrassed. Oh shit! I'm not
Why
with
did you
this
start
guy.
laughing? Romeo Juliet moment or a Twilight moment?
Both.
Okay, that is the Twilight moment for
It's
sure.
a Twilight moment, yeah. Definitely. Oh man.
Neither do I. Who are you again?
Oh.
But
Star Wars.
it's
All
over my
dragons
place.
found. So what now?
No.
Did you finish the
dragons
Did you
are
finish
very
the
much
game?
dead.
No. Finish the area.
I was
Hey.
like, wow, that was a fast stream.
Um,
Spider-Man. What was the last movie you guys watched? Or has this ever happened to you? This is even better. Did you ever go to the movies? Okay, this is a twofer question. Yes.
Yeah,
It's a
Two-part
twofer.
question. Sure.
So, did you ever go to the movies and A, walked out of the movie, or B, fallen asleep while watching the movie?
Mm,
I don't think I've ever walked out of the movies.
No, but when I was 14, I went
Falling asleep
into
in a
the cinema and I only remember 30% of the movie because I went on a date and we thought the cinema was empty because we couldn't see anyone, and so we just yeah,
Pulled around?
pulled around like there was no tomorrow.
Well, that's what
And
the
then-
cinema's for when you're 14, bro.
I guess.
Yeah.
And then when the
I mean,
movie
that's
ended,
fair.
like the lights switched on, and there were like 2 people besides us in the whole
Oh,
You guys were pretty distracted.
nice.
in the whole
Oh, I got all the...
cinema.
What achievement? 100% level complete.
Thing.
Yay.
So, but you've never walked out of
No,
a movie or fallen
never
asleep
walked out,
at the
never
movies.
fall asleep. But,
Interesting.
I think I fell asleep at some movie, but...
Because I was gonna ask if either of those are the case.
Never walked out,
Which
though.
one was the last one that it happened in?
The last movie that I saw plenty of people walk out in unison was Gangs of New York, the opening scene. Like half the people left
Interesting.
the room. And it's half the people, it's not any cinema, it's the UGC de Bruckner in Brussels, the Golden Room.
But why
With the
did
two,
they wait?
two
Did they
deckers.
leave because of?
Because it was insanely violent.
That's
For
why.
an opening scene. Yep. It had that Passion of Christ effect before
Oh, yeah,
Passion
yeah,
of Christ
sure,
was
sure.
around. It's very violent, man. I saw it a while ago. I mean, it's not, considering what we have tolerance for nowadays, it's not that violent. But when I think of what came before that at that time, because the movie just starts like that, it's a chasina, man. You know, it's, it's butchery right from the start. So
Okay. Interesting.
yeah, that was the last one. And I know, I've seen people walk out of a few of other movies, but because of something sexual or like you see. Oh yeah, I saw twice. No, 3 times this happened. Because I went to see this movie 2 times. One of them. Mom was walking out of the cinema with their kids during Deadpool and Deadpool 2.
I imagine that happening if parents took their kids to watch Sausage Party.
Yeah,
I can imagine. But interesting. Okay, so you guys never did that. Interesting.
I never did that because when I go watch a movie, either I'm doing it for someone else, and you're there to spend time with that person, or I don't throw my money away just like that. You know, I can just
Well,
millions of
back in
movies to
the
watch at
day,
home.
it was a lot cheaper than it is
So-
nowadays.
Sure.
That's true. When I was from age, 12 to 16,
It was really cheap.
I
bro.
had one of those monthly passes. I paid 15 euros a month, and I could go as many times as I wanted.
Dude, I used to
Had a
go
few of
to
those.
De Brucker all the time, and what I would do as a kid is that I would pay for a ticket to go watch a movie. Once the movie was over, you remember that you get in, and then there's a whole bunch of different
Yeah.
floors. There's never ticketing guys, so I would just spend the entire
Yeah.
day watching different movies.
I did that in Portugal because it got difficult to do that as time went by in the Belgian one. Where you could do that is in the Heysel one because it's very big, the
Makes
building.
sense.
So they're not all, and it's circular too. one of the parts, right? So it's not like a straight corridor where they can just check if someone's getting in. It's got a bunch of rooms, but at any point in that building, you can only see 3 or 4 rooms. So sometimes you just have to look, and then whoop, you sneak into the next one, either early movie or mid movie. Yeah.
It's nice. Okay, I can tell you the 2 last movies I fell asleep at.
Shit.
And it wasn't even that long ago.
What is it?
It was
What
what,
is it?
2 years ago? A year ago, maybe?
Oh, you said Godzilla. You fell asleep,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The latest Godzilla, I fell asleep, and I also fell asleep at the latest Jurassic Park, or Jurassic World, or whatever it is.
I'm not surprised. But you didn't go. Oh, there's the dragon right here.
No,
Why
I
did you
would
go
have
to that
never.
movie?
I would have never gone see them
Brutal.
from my own volition. But
Right.
but it's just for me, when a movie reached the point where it's just I cannot at all like get any satisfaction from anything that's going on. My instinct is to fall asleep. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna walk out, but I might as well just take a nap
There's
right here.
dinosaurs
Fuck
and
it.
shit, and you're like, I play games. This is not new to me. Ugh, this is not impressive.
Bro,
Leave
it's
me alone.
it's just like it's just the lack of like what's the word the lack of substance of those movies is just so much. It's like
Yeah, but it's a
eh.
spectacle. Those movies, you know.
Yeah, I guess I have a
Spectacle.
different appreciation for cinema.
Yeah.
But I understand.
stuff.
I was never really into the big budget things or big, big production kind of stuff. There's some that I really enjoy, but it's not really. I would never go to the movies to watch those things.
For blockbusters, yeah.
Apart from like Lord of the Rings, which I made it, my objective to watch all of them at the movies. I don't remember really going to the movies to watch any big budget things. I mostly went to the movies to watch.
With friends,
Uh,
no? You went to Deadpool with me.
Yeah,
That's
but
fun.
that's something we really wanted to go see.
Yeah, we
I was
wanted
like,
to do. That's true. Yeah.
fuck yeah. But generally, if I went by myself, I would go see foreign movies. It was mostly what I did. If I went with people, usually it would be horror movies because that's what people wanted to go watch, and I would just end up laughing through the whole movie. So it was never good for the people who went with me. But apart
Yeah,
from that,
it's so scary. Visual shit's not scary to you. It's the mind shit.
It's the mind that's scary,
The
bro.
mind
Like
shit, yeah.
that, that angoisse that you feel. It's like, bro, whoa. That for me, it hits a note because it touches.
Yeah.
Because I've not dabbled, but I've had to deal with anxiety all my life. So anxiety attacks,
Requiem for a
panic
Dream
attacks,
when you're
things
13,
like that.
14. That's a horror movie.
Yeah, that
know?
shit is intense as fuck. I watched
That's
it
intense
last
as
year. I
fuck,
hadn't watched
yeah.
it since I was
Yeah.
like 14.
It's not as bad anymore,
It's not as bad.
but I remember
It's
at the
not
time.
at
Or
all as
Christian F.
intense.
Christian F. The kids from the something zoo. Lawrence, what's the title in German? The Christian F. movie. The Kinder from the Bonhoeffer Zoo, something like that.
It's almost, yeah, it's practically that. And that one.
What's the name of the stop though? Huh?
Bahnhof Zoo.
Bahnhof Zoo. Oh, it's just called Bahnhof Zoo. It's not called the kids from Bahnhof Zoo.
I think today.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Oh, dude, it's
I
about a
could
teenager who is like 13 and she gets hooked on drugs. I mean, she starts,
Pretty sad. I've
selling
never
herself,
seen
and
this
they try to
movie.
do a detox. Oh, it's horrible, dude.
Wow.
It's a very
Doesn't
good
it
movie.
start
Don't get me wrong.
81.
With her
Yeah,
going
Christian
to
F.
a concert of.
Yeah, just
David
hang out with her
Bowie
friends. Yeah.
or something.
And
then
she likes a boy. It's pretty simple, city stuff.
And so this
City
is what
Girl
it's
stuff,
very like psychological. The way it's made, like or is
No. It's not gonna fuck. It's gonna fuck with you that way. It's just that you're witnessing something that you know is absolutely possible. But the actors are really good in it because the innocence of not knowing what they're doing translates onto the set. because they are 13, they don't really understand the depth of this problem. This is just when, you know, it's 81, right? So it's been now 15 years, let's say 10 years overall, that heroin addiction and stuff, people realize that it's not just, it's a fucking problem, you know?
Right.
Not because the devil is the stuff of the devil or because it's illegal, it's because, no, this shit fucks people up when, you know, other drugs don't.
Okay.
And it's a horror story in that sense. You know, it's not a horror movie.
No,
It's not a psychological thriller.
I wouldn't
It's,
qualify it as horror story. It's
you know.
just,
No, but it's a horrible story, man.
sure.
It is.
As an adjective,
You know,
it's
and
not as a
for any
genre.
parent, like if you put yourself in the shoes of the parent in the movie, that shit's a horror movie. You know? I watched that movie with my dad when I was like 14, 15. My dad said, "Hey kids, let's watch this movie." He knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah, go watch it. Even if you know what it's about and
No,
spoil some
definitely
scenes,
interested.
It's just a
Still
very
worth a
dramatic
Yep.
interpretation of a
Yeah.
semi-biographical story because
Yeah.
it is inspired in
Totally
real
believable, by the
events.
way.
Yeah.
It's just crammed into a shorter time frame. That's all. You know, but it is. That's the thing. It doesn't feel dramatized on purpose too much. You know.
Okay.
That's what's weird. While you watch the movie, I didn't feel that. There's no bullshit. No one's trying to look good for a camera, because in this movie, everyone looks gross for the camera. You know what I mean? Lolo,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, right?
Mm.
And by gross, I mean, like, I don't mean the junkies are gross in that sense, although, you know.
It's
It's
just
more
you
like
feel for
what
the
you've-
characters. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just pity, but also like it's just nasty stuff, man. You know, putting needles inside you and boiling them up with fucking lime juice and at some
Sucking
car
dicks
park and then
from
sucking
a
dick or finding out that your guy is
40-year-old
doing it.
guy.
And by the way, they're all underaged. You know, they're not exactly street kids. They're just city kids who spend a lot of time outside. And then at one point, of course, if they leave the house, then, you know, they become proper street kids. Down a similar line, there's a movie called... It's not a great movie, but it's a special movie, at least to me. It was weird. It's The Last Minute. I think that's what it's called. I think it's a British movie, I'm not sure. It's also about a guy who is a heroin addict and then... just a fucking junkie. Gets into... like this clan that lives in the sewers at one point with some kids, and there's a guy controlling all of them, and he all gives them a little bit of heroin and stuff. And yeah, it's a bit like Fight Club, but it's a bit more tragic, and the guy's a junkie,
Okay.
and he's fooling himself the whole while. I'm not even sure if it's well reviewed. It's a movie that I watched at, you know, late at night in those cinema channels that we have in Portugal, Telecine or something like that.
Sure.
When I was 15 years ago, maybe. Yeah, interesting movie. Check it out.
Okay. Because like you see, like I don't like we were saying, like the way horror is defined. I don't find them scary. They don't give me any feels. It's like
Right.
it's just meant to be visually
Shit. That again.
surprising. That's really what horror is about. It's about to surprise you in whichever way they can through your senses, especially, you know, your ears and your eyes. But that's really it. It doesn't
Right.
mess with your mind. It doesn't really. And I think of movies like, I don't know if you know the director Gaspar Noé.
No.
He has
What did
a
he do?
couple. I think his most famous movie is probably Irreversible. I don't know if
I
you're.
see a
It's a
cover
movie
of the
with
movie, maybe
Monica
I will know,
Bellucci,
but-
and
Okay.
it starts from the end and goes back to the beginning. Like it has that kind of like,
Interesting.
and it's the way it's filmed, just as well as another of his movies called Enter the Void that was released like 11 years ago.
I know Enter the Void. Dude, that movie.
Yeah.
That fucking movie, man.
Gaspar
That's like
Noé,
also-
he has a very interesting way of making you feel anguish through the way he films. and that's what I considered like scary. It puts me uneasy. You know, that's what's scary.
Yeah.
You know, he has another movie, the most recent one called Climax,
Holy
that I've
Motors?
also watched.
No.
Which is a dance class that like go to an empty school, and then they're like partying, and somebody laces their sangria with drugs, and just shit goes insane. People start going crazy and shit, but it's not like you see anything very violent, but it's the way you see all the characters like enter madness, you know?
Yeah, madness.
And,
Enter the Void is...
Enter the Void is absolutely that.
It's an experience
basically-
that you witness.
Yeah. I mean, it's a POV movie,
You're
pretty
in it
much.
too. Yeah.
I mean,
Enter the Void is a fucking trip. Have you seen it, Lolo? Enter the Void?
I don't think so, no.
I watched it fucked up.
oh,
You know?
oof.
I don't remember
Good luck
much
with
of
that,
it,
bro.
but I remember that it was, you know, I remember that it was quite the experience. Yeah, that much I remember. Just being like when the movie's done, while you're watching the movie, I didn't take any breaks, right? And when the movie was done, it's like you're waking up from a series of dreams, and the movie felt a lot longer than it actually was.
Yeah.
So that was odd.
Well, but it's really
Like,
long
when it's
movie,
over,
bro. Just so you know, it's
I think
almost
like
3
2
hours
10,
long.
right? But it
It's
felt
almost
like a
3
whole
hours
fucking
long.
day, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like when I finished the movie, I was like, "Wow, what have I been doing?" Yeah, it's.
What is my life?
But just for that day, I think that not in other like movies that try to give you a similar experience. Is that A Scanner Darkly, for example? I think
Yeah, I was
it's
gonna
great.
say that I
movie
watched
fucked with me.
fucked up beyond all recognition. I don't
Yeah.
even remember that movie.
And I think it goes hand in hand with Waking Life. And that
Oh yeah,
genre of
Waking Life
movies
is
from the
great though.
same
Waking
time.
Life is wholesome. It's different.
Yeah, Waking Life is more obviously a collection
Yeah.
of different stories that tie up to a string, with the theme being dreaming, and you know, is life a dream? Are you always dreaming? Are you in control of your dreams? Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's kind of darkly. It's a guy who's losing his mind while he's a pawn in a much bigger scheme and thing that he failed to notice.
It's kind of like
the whole
Pi.
fucking
I don't know
movie.
if you've ever seen Pi. As in the number
No.
Pi.
I don't think so.
Do you want to see some messed up shit of the mind? Dude, watch Pi. That's a classic.
Really?
Also something that I watched fucked up beyond all recognition. But this movie is a fucking classic. It's insane.
Oh, I almost made it. Fuck.
And it's in black and white, and it has a way of messing with your head. Like a movie from
Okay.
'98 or something.
Oh, it's from
Really-
'98, but it's black
Yeah.
and white.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is it black and white if it's from '98?
Well,
What's that pretentious
the
bullshit?
thing is,
Huh? What's
the
theme
story
about it being
itself,
black and white?
it's kind of about kind of like a beautiful mind kind of guy, you know, a numbers whiz,
Mm-hmm.
and that starts getting psychological delusions and paranoia and shit. And I feel like it goes hand in hand with the feeling that he has of the way he is within the world. So it's all black and
Like
white. It
looking
gives it a lot of
everything in
grittiness.
binary.
Yes, pretty much.
Mm.
But yeah, and then he finds himself. It's also that kind of same thing as it's kind of darkly, because he's going insane, and at the same time he
Right.
finds himself like into something.
I guess the black and white could help in terms of translating the madness that the world through his eyes has like no color or interest, but what the fuck is going on in his mind takes up all the space.
Yeah.
Everything around is just black and white. Is that kind of what they're going for?
I guess to
that
some
thing.
degree. I mean, it's been a while since I watched the movie.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious, like on the intentions of the people who made that movie.
Not 100%. I know it won at the Sundance Festival the year it came out, but I don't remember really what the intent was.
Similar
I just
to that
realized
thing, and
that
I didn't see it,
looked
was
at your
Holy
game like
Motors.
I looked at
Yeah?
your game like 3 times since you started streaming.
No worries, man.
Which movie?
It's just Holy Motors. Go check it out.
Holy as in holy as in whole, or
Holy as in yeah. No, as in sacred. Holy Motors, and it gave me a little bit of that Enter the Void feel, looking at it, like a mix of Enter the Void and Go Get Me Some Rosemary. I don't know if you ever seen that movie. Go Get Rosemary or something like that.
Rosemary's Baby?
No, not Rosemary's movie. It's a movie about a dad who's in the middle of a divorce. And
No. Oh, this looks really weird. The images.
yeah, it's definitely weird.
Who is this from? I don't know this.
There's a
Feels kinda-
famous actress who's in it.
Eva
but I
Mendes is in it.
forget-
It's the only
yes,
name.
she's in it. It's one of
The only
it's
person I
only,
recognize.
like,
Kylie
famous
Minogue
person.
is in it as well, apparently.
Yeah, it's an interesting, like, how do you say, cast.
Uh-huh.
And can you read me the premise? The
Driven
synopsis?
around Paris by a loyal driver, a mysterious man dresses up in costumes and plays a number of strange semi-scripted roles.
Yeah.
But the imagery is weird. It's really
Yes.
weird.
It's very
And the cover.
nighttime. Some neon. There's also have you seen that movie with what's his name? Shia LaBeouf, Charlie something.
Charlie
Fuck, what's
something?
the name of that movie? It's with Til Schweiger as well, and that girl from 13.
I
Fuck,
haven't
what's the
haven't
name of that
watched
movie?
13 in ages. You're not talking
What's the
about
name of that
Nymphomaniac,
movie?
right?
No. It's a few years prior to Nymphomaniac, around the same time. What's the name of that movie?
I'm looking at his list, but what were you saying?
Something Charlie came out in 2013, 14, 15. Check.
The
It's set in
company you
Europe.
keep?
No.
Oh wait, The Necessary Death of Charlie Countryman.
Yes, that movie.
I've never heard of this. It's with Mads Mikkelsen as well.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen. He plays a bad guy. Him
Interesting.
and Til Schweiger. Yeah. No, is Mads Mikkelsen in that movie?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
He is?
And
Okay.
Til Schweiger is as well. Yeah.
Til Schweiger as well. Yeah. It's in Czech Republic, I think. Cool movie.
Okay.
Like it's like a Sunday afternoon watch. You know, it's not a wow, but it's just it takes an interesting trajectory. Like it's about this guy who meets a girl, gets obsessed with her, and it's like he's stupid artist trying to save her and shit. Like just getting into people's lives without really understanding what he's getting into. You know, like a stupid American doing his interrail in Europe.
What
what
you
I mean?
do in our country with our women?
Exactly.
Ouais. Merde.
Connard.
Connard.
Skill point
Salopard.
acquired. Fuck skill point acquired. What do we mean?
What do you mean?
So it's one of those movies.
Oh, I see.
I kind of miss watching movies like that. It's true that
I told you, it's the same for me, bro.
The Netflixes and big subscription things don't always have those.
Dude, I
Netflix
haven't
movies
watched
around.
like a good movie in so long. I just watch stupid shit. It's like I'm just consuming shit. Audio visual shit.
Mm.
My brain is rotten from all the stupid movies I've seen.
So you mean you haven't seen a movie that has surprised you in a while?
It's
You feel like,
I'm
this
trying
is
to
quality.
I'm trying to think of the last one that gave
Doesn't
me
have
that
to be
effect.
recent, huh? It doesn't have to be recent. It could be like the first time you watch an older movie. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, but that's what I'm
That's,
trying to think.
If you haven't watched it yet, Ex Machina might interest you.
Oh yeah, go
since
watch
you
it. It's gonna be one of
enjoy-
those, Pedro. Go watch it. Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
Is it?
Yeah,
Detroit Become
it is.
Human. So it's.
Is it
Because
Turing
it's not
test type
sci-fi.
shit?
Yeah, it's philosophical human questions about sentiency, and
Oh,
robots.
it's with
and-
Miss Vikander.
Alicia Vikander, exactly.
Yeah, she's great in it. I think it's an actress that I don't particularly like in general.
Really?
In action movies, she always plays like a smart European lady,
Wait,
She's
almost
really good in that
typecast.
movie.
I think I've seen
She's
this
excellent in
movie.
that movie. She's
Really?
fantastic in that movie.
I think, yeah, I've seen this movie. I saw it with Lovisa. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, I've seen this. It didn't stand out at all. Just so you know.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
I think it's because you saw it with Lovisa.
No.
You're like, oh, I'm gonna watch this
Um,
movie with my girl, whatever, and then you're just like on Reddit half the time.
No,
That's the movie. Yeah.
It didn't. Maybe I should give it another chance, but when I watched it, it really didn't really stir anything. Just like, yeah, okay. It's a fun movie to watch, but it didn't really give me that
Strike Me
vibe.
is like fun because you do follow the guy. Often there's that part of the thing, right? Trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in this place.
Sure.
But it's the conversations that struck me most. I mean, of course, the reveal at the end is also pretty good.
I
But
don't
it's one
see.
of
I
the
don't
many
remember
scenarios
the
that you
review.
could see
I don't even
coming the whole
remember.
time.
I remember watching the movie because I'm looking at the images and I remember perfectly
Maybe you fell
that I've
asleep.
watched this. Well, if I did, then that says a lot, bro, for me. But
Lolo, did you like the reveal at the end? Is he with us? Did he
Sorry,
leave?
what was that?
I'm asking you on Ex Machina if you liked the reveal.
I love the movie, yes. I think
Did you get
it's very-
surprised by the reveal? Did it surprise you?
Not necessarily, no. It made
But
sense. It
you
was
like
going
you
into
enjoyed
that
how it
direction.
got there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Exactly. Because that's what's cool about the movie. It's not just so much what ends up happening in the movie, it's how it happens. And the little details, the way they come together. Like if you're just paying attention to the main story itself, you could even say it's a boring movie. Because not that much happens in there. But if you pay attention to little details, especially word choice, I think it's a very well-written movie and well-edited too. The order in which things happen,
Also,
I
it's
think, makes the movie. And the performances are great.
a very
obviously.
good
Like the guy is very much in doubt.
occasion how movies with low budget end up becoming extremely good in the end. Because that movie had a well, compared to big feature movies, it had a very small budget.
Ooh, thunder outside. It did, even though the actors were not on the cheap side, I think.
No.
At least they have to be involved in the project. Because it's, what's the name of that ginger guy that gets,
Donald
plays
something.
in, plays in a lot of stuff. Another achievement, yay.
Or was it?
Look at these enemies, guys.
I'm looking.
Oi!
The palm trees with
Oh my
fist
God.
flaps.
Yeah.
Sure.
So annoying. Ah,
I see it.
damn it.
But in going back to the last movie that was like really good. Well, actually, I really enjoyed Parasite. It was really good.
Sure.
Parasite.
Yeah.
Parasite was very good.
What is it again? What is it again, Parasite? Give me the plot. I think I've seen it.
Well, it's
Parasite is a family. How does it start? So the kid gives English class, and then to a child from a rich family, and then the sister supposedly. It's basically how a family grifts. A poor family ends up grifting a richer family.
Yeah, pretty much.
But by accumulating too many lies, the pressure is too much, and horrible mistakes are made.
Yeah, you pretty much resume it to that.
So it's a thriller?
Yeah, I guess.
Sure.
mean, I just
But
call it a
it's so
drama.
many things, like, yeah.
Is it also like that movie that black dude wrote? What's his name again? From the Key and Peele duo. What's his name? Jordan Peele wrote it. About the dude who's black and gets kidnapped by the white family.
Oh,
Oh, is it Get Out? Or no, it's not.
Get Out, yeah.
Mhm.
Is it
It is?
kind of like that? Like the
I-
movie
I
goes
didn't
along
watch
and
Get
you know
Out,
there's
so I don't
something
know.
fucked up?
No, because... Oh... I
No,
guess
in the sense that you
vibe
the whole
of
time
it,
the
I
movie's
guess.
watching.
Yeah, the vibe of it.
Sorry, yeah, the vibe. Like
Mhm.
you know that while ordinary things are happening, you get a sense that something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a sense that something's wrong the whole time. So I mean, the thing is, you know that karma's gonna catch up the whole time. You just know. You
okay.
just don't know what is gonna happen.
What, how, when,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
know.
but the tension is always possible, true. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a very tense movie.
Come on, I
Parasite.
mean, it
Hmm,
won
I
the
haven't seen
Oscar
it.
for the best movie,
Mm-hmm.
Really?
and it's a foreign movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's quite
Who
insane.
wrote it?
Snowpiercer guy...
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, then I really have to watch it.
What, did he also
Because
do
Snowpiercer
Oldboy?
was like
Is that the same
an
guy?
awesome movie that surprised me over the last 10 years.
Is it the same guy who did Oldboy
Okay.
as well?
No. That's
Ah.
that's Chinwon Park or whatever it is. This is Bong Joon-ho, I think.
Hmm.
Isn't it Bong Joon-ho? Or am I just spewing racist names right now?
Possible.
Oh, I know. Okay. It's a Korean movie. I think I heard about it. I saw some footage of it.
Really? I'm pretty sure it was the same director though.
Oh god, I keep dying in this stupid place. It's so stupid.
Parasite director.
I'm sure that old boy is Park Chan-wook or Chan-wook Park. It has Park in the name.
Yeah, but clearly
parks in Korea.
you're not right.
Clearly, you're not correct.
I am. I know I am, bro.
Where do I see his IMDb? Oh, you are.
I know I'm correct, bro. I'm telling you.
What? You said
Snowpiercer.
clearly, Lolo. Ooh, ooh.
Okay.
Who did
I
Snowpiercer?
know very well it's not the same
Dude, who did
director.
Okja? Okja is really good too. I really like
So
it.
the guy who did Parasite did Snowpiercer, Okja.
And Okja. Ah, I didn't know he did Parasite.
Isn't it Bong Joon something? Or Bong Joon?
Bong Joon.
Ah,
if that's
I
how you
wasn't just
pronounce
being
it.
racist.
No.
Okay.
Incoherence, Memories of Murder, Memories in My Frame,
Oh, I forgot you can roll.
The Host, Mother, Snowpiercer.
The host is
Okja,
very good.
Parasite.
Yeah, he's got very good movies, that guy. Okay,
Why you
I'm
like
definitely watching Parasite
think-
then.
He was related with Oldboy.
Because
It's
I'm
Korea.
guessing the environment, yeah, in Korean movies.
Asia, Japan.
They are cold-blooded killers.
Attack frogs?
But the
Used to be
Chan
such a nice
Park.
swamp.
He made Old Boy, Lady Vengeance, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance,
maybe
Thirst.
it's one of the actors. That
Uh,
maybe. Let me double check. Let me backtrack this search over here. Parasite casting. Nope.
No.
Because the only connection you could have made is that the main actor in Parasite, the dad,
Mm-hmm.
he's the main character in Thirst, which is a movie from Chang Woong Park or Park Chung Wong.
Thirst, yes, indeed. Right here.
Thirst is awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a very fantastical movie. I
Through a
I
failed
described it
medical
to you.
experiment, a priest is stricken with vampirism and is forced to abandon his ascetic way. Is that how you pronounce that word?
Sure.
What word?
Ascetic? Ascetic?
Ascetic?
I don't know what that means.
ASCETEC?
Yeah, I know the word, I don't remember what it means.
It just
I
means
see.
like superior,
Ascetic.
like as in from
Okay.
above. Yeah. It's a really beautiful movie.
Thank you for releasing
Beautiful drama. Also, I'm a cyborg, but that's okay. Is amazing as well.
Shit. Okay. Game's starting to get a little bit harder. Pay attention.
I thought that you were just dragging around, bro.
Yeah, but now I'm already moving forward in the game. So there's a few parts where you have to pay a little bit of attention. At least just look what's ahead, you know? 'Cause I'm just moving about. I'm looking at the character, not the environment. Although the camera in this game is the only thing that I would say is a bit slow. Forgot you could roll.
Is it a little bit a lot?
Little bit too much.
No. Attention, attention. Last great movie that I watched. I mean, the one that Lolo, I think you'll enjoy it, and you too, Peter. The Sorry for Bothering You or Sorry to Disturb You, something like that. About the dude. I told you it's the movie about a dude who works at the call center, and he's black, but he uses a white voice. So when he starts using his white voice to sell stuff, he starts getting promotions, and then he gets it's a cool movie.
What's the name?
He starts moving up in the company. Sorry for disturbing you, or sorry for calling for
Sorry to bother you.
bothering you. Sorry to bother you, something like that.
Right? Okay. Is it on Netflix?
It's on Netflix here. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix for you.
That's
Here it
wherever
was.
you are, I can have it. Don't worry.
No, but I don't think it's a Netflix production. Yeah, sure, okay. I don't think it's a Netflix production.
Okay.
Although it is, you know, it's a pretty good movie.
Let me check if it's in the Portuguese one.
It's
Yeah, it
it's
is.
with the dude from he's also in Lolo, you know the Jessica detective movie series Marvel thing?
Jessica Jones?
Yeah, it's the guy, her neighbor, who's also her assistant and friend, who plays the main guy. And the girl who plays his girlfriend in this movie is that black actress who's been in everything lately. I think
Gotta be
it's
more
the one
specific.
who was in Thor, in Creed, like Thor 3, also in the Creed movie. You know her face. Very pretty lady. And very good actress too. Yeah, the movie's got a whole thing with like they put race into the movie too. And they expose it in a really cool way.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, besides the obvious using your white voice thing. You know,
Yeah.
a lot
I'll
of the
give it a
characters are
glance
black.
once I'm done with Kuroko's baseball basket.
It's very watchable, and it has a bit of a wonderful in the sense of magical feeling to it. That's exploited. It's surreal. All right. A lot of stuff in the movie is surreal. It doesn't make sense.
I like some
Or,
stuff
I mean,
from
it does
Dali.
make sense,
I can
but
dig
it challenges and bends certain things in reality.
Okay.
But what you will enjoy this movie.
Okay.
You too, Lolo. If you can, go watch it. I think for you, Lolo, it might be a funny discovery. Because it reminds me of stuff that I read when I was younger, like Boris Vian, that my dad is really into. It's also a bit like that. Did you see the movie L'écume des jours? With
No, I didn't,
Roman Duris?
but you recommend it.
Go watch it, I recommend. It's a good adaptation of the book. It's intense. And light also at the same time, just like the book. But it's a crescendo in itself. It's also with Omar Sy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's funny because when I was a kid, my dad would just give me books to read. Sometimes they would stick, sometimes they wouldn't. And some of them he was like, no, this one you gotta read. And at first, from Boris Vian, it was L'Arrache-Cœur, which means the heart terror. Someone who takes hearts out of people's chests, you know? And nothing with horror like that. It's just a story about a guy who is a doctor who gets assigned to go work in a village. Everybody in this village is fucking weird. But then as time goes by, he becomes like them. And it's like his relationship with the characters, like these people are fucking crazy. But then slowly he starts accepting it and becoming a bit like them. Losing himself and finding himself in the process, blah blah blah. It's a short novel. You can read it in a few days. It's like 100 pages. And by a few days, I mean like you read 30-20 pages, read some 30 pages tomorrow, blah blah blah. And another one is L'écume des jours, which is the life of a guy, and he's got a. Boris Vian introduces really cool stuff in the book that doesn't make any fucking sense, but there are things that are natural to the characters. And like, you can tell the dude is very much inspired by a vivid imagination, because the main character has, for example, a pianoctel. So it's basically he's got a machine that's shaped like a piano, right? But depending on the notes you hit, you're gonna make different cocktails.
Wow.
And he has a mouse who's sentient and the person who lives in his kitchen and kind of takes care of it. But it's a mouse, and you will say like, oh, the guy went to brush his teeth or whatever, wash his hands, and then ik makes these in English. An eel crawled out of the pipes, you know, and he had to just kind of get rid of it, you know, and just brush it off, and little things like that. You have to go back and check, like, am I really reading this right? Like, because he doesn't address it. You know, it's like someone who's talking to you with a fucking blue wig on, and a fake nose, and it's obviously a blue wig and obviously a fake nose, and never mentions it. You're trying to figure out why and what the fuck is going on. And then, of course, in L'écume des jours, it's dramatic, so it just goes. Gets very emotionally charged, going up and up and up and up and up. Emotionally charged both ways, like in terms of like love, but also in terms of despair, you know, in the character's heart. And the movie does a good job at portraying that side of it. Of course, when you're reading it, it's different because you get a different perspective. But yeah, and lots of really cool things like that from that guy's head there. And so my dad knew what he was doing on that one. Thank you, Daddy. Because, they give a lot to think about.
Thank you, Fasha.
Do you guys have cool movies like that you watch with your dad, or that at the time you were like
Shit
thinking, not sure if like this is really for me, and then either during the movie or after it just clicks? Like, fuck, this is good. You know? Like it's just another weird thing that dad likes, and then you watch it like, whoa, this is fucking cool.
Oh yeah, bro. That's my life in a nutshell. Dude, my dad was
movies, it's like that.
My dad used to get his hands on the underground copies of like shit that was not being imported into Portugal, and he would rent out the cinema in Guarda and just
Right, because he was a movie critic, or you did the movies for.
he did movie
right?
critics and shit, yeah. So trust me, I've had my share of those moments with movies. Also because my
Home
dad
Booth
was
was
always
one like that.
interested in, yeah, my dad was interested in really weird movies. So that's kind of the movie style that I grew up watching. Weird shit.
Your dad was into a lot of auteur
Yeah.
stuff, right?
That's why I also have the snobbish side to my appreciation of cinema.
Snobbish.
It's not
I only like
snobbish,
shit
but
that people don't like because mostly no one watched it because mostly no one heard of it.
well, it's not